Hello, everyone. Good evening and welcome to Time to Talk. I am here with my dear friend Faye. Hi, Faye. How are you doing?
Hello, Rafael. How are you?
Very good, very good. Um, we
Nice to be
are
here.
starting another Time to Talk. Today, our episode 39. Um, and every week, every couple of weeks, I make the same comments. So today, I'm not going to say, I cannot believe it's already the 39th episode. I'm not going to make that comment. Um, but here we are. Let me get some things out of the way so we can dive in. Our usual announcements, and thank you very, very much to our partners and broadcasters. Um, First of all, Spiritist Society of London, SSL. Both Faye and myself, we are members of SSL. SSL is a study group that has different initiatives um, to spread the knowledge and the word about Spiritism. SSL is connected and affiliated to a BUS, the British Union of Spiritist Societies. It works more like a federation that unites all of the groups here in the UK. And our third broadcast is Kardec Radio, which has been around for 11 years now, um, with a lot of content available to you about Spiritism in English. Um, all three of them are what? Committed to spreading the knowledge about Spiritism. And that's why we have Time to Talk. Time to Talk is a bi-weekly program. The idea is for us to have a chat about different topics on mediumship, but we don't want it to be like a lecture. We want it to be a conversation, right? Here, the point is we make questions, we talk about it, we see your comments. If you have something to share, if you agree, disagree, if you have questions, if you have cases, we'll bring them on, and then we will help us have an open conversation about mediumship. Today, our episode 39 is pretty much a continuation of our last episode.
Yeah.
I think Faye was very inspired to suggest the content of the topic last time. The topic was if mediumship is natural, why study it? And now it's pretty much a follow up. If mediumship is natural, why work with it? And there's a usual format. I'm gonna go straight to Faye and say, Faye, before we try to answer this question, why this question, right? Why this topic? Why do you think there's a link there and there's an importance to bring this as a topic for us to talk this week?
Well, it's good question. It occurred to me that um, whenever we say that something is natural for us, uh, I have this feeling that we tend to take for granted the things that are natural. Since they're there, they've always been there, so why worry? Sometimes, if it's a talent, we can, and we are passionate enough about this talent for art, for music, for sport, or any science, we'll go and pursue it. And even if we feel strongly about that, but if we don't feel that strongly, I mean, if we can have some ability, but we don't feel that that would be perhaps our best route, our chosen way of life, then we just leave it there, you know. And I think mediumship could be one of those things that, since we say it's natural, everyone is one, could be a working one, but it's just taken for granted. It's as if it didn't exist, but it does.
Yeah. It's funny that you when you sent that question when we were talking about it before, and because I was talking to a friend, I think it was last week, and she was sharing with me the the experience of her partner that he's from, I don't know if he's from Cameroon or another country in that part of Africa,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not spiritists, but him and his brother are very known mediums with strong healing capabilities,
Mm-hmm.
and very well known there back home in Cameroon, and a lot of people search for them and go there on weekends and so on, where they can work that. And I kept thinking about um, how many cases we have of people who are mediums who in different capacities, right? The ones that receive messages, the one that can heal, the ones that see, the ones that hear, and so on. Um, all over the world, going on about their lives, using it or not, that we don't even know. And but what got me my attention when they were talking about, when she was talking to me about it, was more that they do such a great work there that is not linked to any religion or institution or anything. It just is. It just is. People know about it. People believe in it. People go there. They receive the mediumistic help or support that they need, and that's it. And so when you brought the question, so why work with it? I immediately connected to it because it was already something in my mind about um, how many cases there must be out there of people who are mediums who are using that, and you don't
Yeah.
even know.
Yeah. I think, yeah, you make me think of, you know, of their wonderful work, and then so many other people who go about life with doing their wonderful work. And it is a mistake, I believe, if I may, to connect the medium, the healer, or any form of mediumship work um, being restricted, related to a religion. This is like I said, it's natural. It's been in the world. It's been, and it makes me think that how many villages, how many um, cultures, how many, in from ancient times could not survive. How many found their solutions through a medium, to someone who had a bit, who went a bit further with their knowledge, with their study. The people that we call the green fingers. What are green fingers? If not people who have this special connection, go a few steps further in their connection with plants to make them grow and thrive, who have this knowledge, this ability. It doesn't depend on any academic background or anything. But if they decide to, if they like it so much and they decide to add some more knowledge, some more science to it, how much can they do?
Yeah.
And I don't think being connected to one specific set of codes, or call it religion or cult or whatever it is not so important as knowing this ability, this gift that everyone has, and this is a capability to do more for the overall improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah. And and then if you think, people need help all the time. We do. We need to help ourselves. We need to help each other. And if you think that this planet has got, if you think of incarnate and discarnate population, we're about 20 billion living on this planet with all sorts of things, with sorts of history. Yeah, all sorts of targets, goals. And the goal is to be better,
Mm-hmm.
isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Let me ask you a question here. First of all, let me just say hello. I see Ebony is here with us. Hi, Ebony. Very nice to see you here.
Oh,
Thanks for joining us.
hello.
Um, and when we talk about work, when we talk about mediumship and work,
Mm-hmm.
I think a question that comes to mind, a clarification that I think is important to make is, what is work when we're talking about mediumship and work with mediumship, right? Um, is it selling sessions, or is it that kind of work, like the traditional concept of work that we do in exchange for something,
Hmm.
or what is it?
Um, I would take, I think when we, like in most of the things, and certainly the things that we address here at Time to Talk, I think it takes a bit more of open-minded approach to things. And work would be any activity, any way of setting ourselves to do something, to achieve a target that will bring a benefit. In our case, we're talking about a benefit. I'm not talking of exchange, or any sort of exchange, any sort of material, certainly not material exchange, but reward for the work well done. Yes. So if one does any kind of work and decides to tap into someone else's needs or anxieties, for example, you see that someone, you notice that someone is having difficulty um, uh, doing simple things, simple chores in life, like sweeping the garden, sweeping the front door, the path anyway. And you don't, that person will probably never ask you for help. Or put me, I don't want to put you in there. Whenever, will not ask me. But if I care to be a bit more perceptive, if I care to give it a few more seconds to observe that person and try to see what this person needs, I can simply go there and offer the help. Because somehow it's become clear to me, by actions, by deduction, by logic, by observing, that perhaps that person could do with an extra hand. Could do with some help to carry her bags indoors, her shopping bags indoors. I mean, so when I put work is the exercise of being perceptive first, and as we develop in our ability as mediums to increase this amplitude, this depth, and to see what we can do, where we could be helpful, and what sort of support we can offer. Yeah.
I like when you traduce, that's a Portuguese word, translate the word work into the concept of just doing something useful to someone else, right? Just being someone else or yourself, like either for your own improvement or for someone else's benefit. Anyways, just doing something to help out you or someone else. And
because you can't help being, even just, oh no, let's not be selfish. Well, I'm not being selfish, but the fact is, I cannot help the reward. You know?
Yeah.
It's there's no way out. I cannot be free from enjoying the rewards, the benefits that will be sent back to me, just as a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because just as I offer, if I care to offer something that can make that person's life a tiny bit better for a moment, when she sighs in relief, it's, oh God, I couldn't really carry that bag any longer. That relief, that happiness will come back to me. I mean, I can't help it.
Mm.
So in a way, these are ways of establishing goodness, and an exchange, an interchange of very good vibrations to everyone.
But the question here is, actually, we got to answer this. Is it going for very? Oh, there you go. Welcome, Tibor. Good to see you. But the question then that we need to look at then, fine, work in the sense of being useful and being helpful. Got it. But why do we need to apply mediumship to work? Right? Because even the example that you gave, which was a good example, just like from opening your perception in terms of what's around you to make yourself useful and helpful, and that kind of mentality. But that doesn't need mediumship.
No.
With mediumship.
Yeah. No, not necessarily. But that's I think that's could be a good parallel to. Okay, let's move on to the actual work of a medium. All right. So a medium decides to accept that the ability is there, and with this ability, with this gift, comes a duty. It's and because the mediums, at least until we have other means of establishing the communication and the interconnection between the two, the incarnate and discarnate. Okay, so which is the more typical way of thinking of a medium. A friend said that the medium is sometimes the only way to give voice to one side and the other. Is the only way to help people come to terms with old questions, with old sorrows. Bring closure to both sides. Both sides need that closure. both sides need the understanding. Both sides need to move on. And sometimes it's only the medium can help, can be the tool to help this happen. You know, sometimes people use Morse codes for communication. Our communications on Earth, on the surface, has evolved. So it's not. I'm not talking about anything anywhere near this idea of a medium who's seeking information, seeking this. No, there are mediums working at all sorts of fronts, all sorts. And there are those who dedicate themselves just to help bring closure, which is actually that's how it's become more well known, and that's where Spiritism became more evident around in the early 1900s, especially around the First World War. I'm saying in Europe, because the number of desperate people was so immense that those who had some mediumship thought that, and studying Spiritism, thought that they would like to try do something. Could they bring consolation to that father, mother who lost their sons, the children who lost their parents, so everyone could see that, yes, I'm all right, I'm well, so they could have moved on in their own lives. So it's a fantastic thing to hopefully put an end to long-term suffering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think there is another, which is a lot of our affliction that bother us or hurt us or make us ill, they might have their root cause in physical issues and problems that we have. But we could have afflictions and problems that have the root cause on the other side, on a spiritual element. Either, as you said, relationships that are still pending to be fixed, or issues pending to be overcome, or things that we carry from our past, like in previous lives, and how we dealt with things and how we lived our lives and so on. And those things that will come with the spirit and through the perispirit will affect our physical bodies. We can treat the symptom, but if you don't treat the cause, then we're not really reading of anything, right? So in that case, we also see another very important aspect of mediumship, which is the ability to understand the connections and the reasons of things that are beyond our physical body.
Yeah.
Because once we understand that they are from a spiritual cause, that the medicine is different, right? And through mediumship, we would be able to diagnose in that sense. So if you think about a medium that has the ability of help with that kind of clarification, let's call it, that is not really, putting themselves out there, getting involved or participate or anything in that kind of work where they could use this to help other people, they're missing opportunities to work.
Yeah.
So I think that is one of the a big reason for us to think about why work with mediumship, because I was given an idea here from an incarnate perspective, right? Us, we could have a health issue that has issues coming from a different perspective. But there's another element here. Imagine the discarnate spirits. Imagine the problems, issues, afflictions, sufferings, etc. on the other side that spirits are going through, but they are connected and linked to their material lives and things that they want. That for them to also fix and change and address, they need the support and the help of a medium.
Yeah, they do.
It's easier for you to. Sorry, Faye, go ahead.
No, sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
No, it's yeah. No, that's precisely that. And when you find mediums that become more experienced, because of course there will be all sorts, all degrees of work in which one can act. But then it's really vital, the to be able to take one opportunity and help two sides of the same fact, one discarnate and one incarnate, and give them a chance and mediate a conversation and give them a chance to come to terms and understand their point in time. What was done that was right, and mostly what was done that was wrong. The wrong is understood. It's in the past. The world has moved on. Everyone has moved on. And it's time to come to closure and set new goals in life. Because sometimes people may think that once we pass on to the other side, our feelings change, our nature changes, we become more calm, collected, and light. Not really. It's well known that people take their anxieties, their wounds, depending on what happened to them, were they at some violent scenes, at war scenes. They take it all, and that continues until someone tells them it's over and helps them to recover their spiritual body, their spirit, to move on. So it's not true to think that once people are on the side, they'll be just floating about. No, they're not. And this is one of the aspects why, when you say why work, ask because millions of people still need help. They need help in and it's funny. That's another thing that another friend said, that a medium defies the word, the concept of the word never. As if, oh no, that can never be, that can never happen. Really? What do you think? What do you mean? Through mediumship, artists are still telling the world, telling everyone the life goes on. Would you say that they will never paint again? and we're having soon in the UK this week and in the coming weeks, we'll be having some demonstrations of that in February, of artists, famous and known and loved by everyone, who will be showing their presence. They're very well alive through the help of a medium. And it's there for anyone to see.
Yeah.
So here's oh no, I'll never see. I could never see Van Gogh work. Really? You can, actually.
I was also reading about, that this year we have a lot of talks about Gabriel Delan, which was one of the other main, I guess, investigators, if you can call it that. Investigators is not the word. Researchers, researchers of Spiritism. Continued a lot of the investigations that Kardec was doing, and he dedicated a lot of his life to looking at that specific element of connection between Spiritism and science. And if we go back, and I think that's something that we also don't really reflect about it. If we go back to think about all of the knowledge that we have about spiritual life, reincarnation, mediumship, and etc., it came through the phenomena. The phenomena needed to be established well enough, established is not a word, popular enough to get the attention, and understood enough so it could be tested and you could get content from it and so on.
Yeah.
It all comes from the kickoff, which was the effects, the phenomena. So if you think about how many other elements in terms of investigation aren't we paying attention to if we don't have work with mediumship? The work with mediumship unlocks a lot of knowledge that at the moment you might not have yet, that you might not have the equipment or technology in our incarnate side to understand in terms of energy, thought, connection between things, the connection between the spirit and the body, and so on. So when people work with mediumship, they establish the base, the foundations, where those sorts of investigations can happen. For that to happen, you need to be working with it. So again, there's so many different perspectives in terms of the opportunities of work that mediumship would give. Right?
Yes, absolutely. And it's maybe the general public may not be aware of it yet. It's not because it's not said. It's just it will be. It's just because that's the way news will go. That the study of Spiritism and the mechanisms of mediumship are being well studied and researched everywhere in many countries, in universities and scientific groups, and applied to medicine. So that is true for the UK, and for so many other spiritist or medical associations, in which doctors not only want to study, but they understand and they value and they can see the application of the knowledge brought through mediumship to their own science. Okay, they will take the elements and see how their knowledge, how their science can combine these aspects for the understanding of conditions and work around treatment for that. So until a few years ago, nobody would talk so much about mental health or problems of the soul, of the feelings, of the spirit, but now they do. And well, you can see that how many more of the holistic medicine and the holistic treatments are becoming more popular, more favored by everyone, doctors included, because they come to realize that one approach is not enough. So the more approaches they can have to understanding an individual, even to their cellular memory, and they wouldn't say that 20 years ago, 30 years ago. But it is a true revolution, and it's a way of making people feel more valued, more that they matter.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes they say, well, what's happened? So what happens to some sorts of you said some sorts of suffering or conditions or chronic pains and those sort of things, and they say, well, physically, apparently there are no physical reasons for those things, but there are, and the reasons are in the spirit. And that can be worked out, especially, see, if you have a professional who also has knowledge of the spiritual side of things, or the mediumistic side of things, it makes the whole treatment more effective. But why? So, and the question again, but why? Why should I work? Having said all this, why work?
I think it's too many things can only be, I guess, touched or treated through mediumship, and it's opportunities to be missed. I think that's, to be honest, that's the main thing behind. But there could be other consequences. I was thinking about the book. I think the title of the book is Obsession. I had it here, and it talks about this girl that talks about. There's a story about this family that on the 16th birthday of their daughter, their only daughter, she kind of got into like what it seemed to be a psychic crisis, and she attacked her father and so on, and she ended up being taken to a mental home. And anyway, it's not gonna spoil anything, but then after a lot of investigation, first of all, from a medical perspective, the doctors could not understand or find or diagnose her, and end up wrongly diagnosing her with a specific mental condition. And after a lot of resistance, and after being completely desperate and not really knowing where to turn to, the parents finally got turned into the spiritual side of it and went to Spirit Center and so on, and investigated, and they realized that the girl was a medium, and there was a situation happening with her because of her mediumship. And that case is a bit more extreme, right? We do, unfortunately, it's not the exception. We have many people that might have mediumistic issues, they're misdiagnosed and therefore not treated correctly because their issue is not from a physical cause, but from a spiritual mediumistic cause. But I was actually, this example came to mind when I was thinking about Carl Jung. I don't know how you call him in,
Young.
how do you say it actually? Is it Jung or
Young.
Jung?
Well, I
And the thing is, Carl Jung is like a psychiatrist that developed his I guess theory or line of thought about what is our formation, like I guess our psychological formation, if in simple terms. And in the end, so the Jung's proposal was more of a, we should be understanding and seeing people from all spheres and perspectives. So you will have, the emotional side, the physical side, your sentiments and this and that, but there's also the full self is composed from the spiritual side as well. And what elements and characteristics of you as a person, as your personalities, come from that spiritual element or are influenced by that spiritual element. And I think, again, those, we are only able to fully understand someone and provide help and so on if we start to see them from the entire spectrum of their lives. And you won't be able to do that if you don't have the mediumistic lenses on it as well. It doesn't mean that anything you have, any situation, you have to have like a medium by your side, so you make it so that's not how it works, right?
No.
But right, but still, there will be cases, there will be situations where a medium will be the one that will be able to give clarity in terms of how things should go. That's what I had in mind.
Yeah, there are things I'd like to say in it, Rafael, that normally I don't know if everyone realizes the depth of work that there is for a medium. It goes if establishing the communication, establishing, helping to understand, helping to work as a mediator, helping the mediation between dissension, disruption between friends, family, people, countries, etc. If that weren't enough, there are other levels that are quieter, but they're very connected to, like as I was saying, the scientific activities on Earth that are guided and are supported by mediums until up to the point when the other mechanisms are developed that they do not need the medium to help. So a medium who decides to do this work has this level of a participation is showing a commitment, because it's a deeper level of work cannot be done without commitment and study and a lot of dedication and a lot of ethical and moral code for that, because the more refined the work is, the more refined the medium must be as a person and as practitioner, if you can call it like that. And that brings a responsibility, because the more knowledge knowledge is freedom, but it's also responsibility. A lot of it. Yeah. So, and freedom is not without responsibility.
Mhm.
I don't think.
Mhm.
And that's one of the aspects. Another important aspect of the medium's work is to be aware of this responsibility, accept it and honor it, and think also that if one is given more abilities, it may be as because that one would need an extra tool to do its part, to do their part on the planet.
Yeah, to follow the plan for them.
It's not because I was born with the stars, it's probably because I haven't, without it, it would take me a lot longer to do what I'm supposed to do.
Mm.
And to
It's
make
almost like a last resource. Look, let's see if at least with this you finally do what you need to do.
exactly, either you go there and work deeply and learn, because you've got the ability to learn and work and even feel the benefits, the rewards, the good that you can do, or it will take you far too long to make up for what's been left behind.
Mhm.
Yeah, so why work? Because if we're given this opportunity, it should take, because it's our participation in something that's really grand, that's really wonderful. But it's also a good way of taking being accountable for whatever it is that we've done in the past that we don't need to know. We're not asked to even remember, but
Yeah.
having, being the owner of this sort of gift is already a hint that something wasn't quite right. And this is my chance to put it right without even suffering for it. And I think this is, if this isn't compassion from our celestial Father, I don't know what is.
You were
Faye,
touching a
you
point
need to
here.
remember, just do it.
If you don't remember, there's a reason why you don't remember. It's probably for the best.
Well, don't bother. Don't. It's
Probably
not
for
the
the best.
time. It's not the time. That's all right. It's now you do your part.
But I love that you almost quoting the movie Spider-Man, which is a famous word, which is with great powers comes great responsibility. And
Great
listen, it's true.
responsibility.
It is.
I don't know.
Yeah. And
but
it,
but it is true. It's a universal
yeah,
truth, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. But that brings another element, which I think is another why. Hopefully, we've had like listed a few whys already. The other one, that the responsibility side of it is the if you think about how do we improve ourselves, and the more we like study and read about spiritism, there's always this perspective in terms of we should be working towards our self-improvement, being better people and so on. And how is the thing, right? That it is there as well and it's written, but it's difficult because of our impulses and our nature at the moment. But work is always the key. So when we're talking about why working, if you are committed to look, let's assume you're a medium, and then you find out, you know what, I'm going to use a mediumship to work helping people here or there, or I'm going to get involved with this group, or I'm going to whatever it is, right? That you decide, like, look, I understand this is happening, and I'm going to find a way of putting this to good use to help others. The commitment that comes out of work, what does that mean? If we break down into how does that affect my life? I'm going to, I need to be prepared. If let's say I'm going to work every week or every 2 weeks or once a month or every day, doesn't matter, to do something related to mediumistic work. The preparation I need to do for that, it's time that you are dedicating from your thoughts, from your mind, from your energy, from your day to prepare for that. The work itself, it's a moment, an hour or two, it's a full weekend that you are putting other people's interests before yours. Regardless if you are directly helping someone, or if you are helping the spirits on the other side that disconnect, or if you are helping a specific group that is working towards something. So again, it's energy, time, thought that you are taking out of your normal life, let's say, and your own objectives and goals and so on, and you're dedicating for someone else. So physically, you change your brain and you create the habits.
Yeah.
Create habits. Moments of your week that you are committed to do something that's not for you. Habits of, okay, I need to be ready for this, I need to prepare in this sense. So there's an element of change that comes with your commitment to work.
Yeah.
They don't even realize. And that is the transformation. This is the how. We don't realize, but this is the how. We become better, we improve things, we change things, right? It's not from one day to the other, I became a saint. No, it's, look, I'm learning to put another interest, someone else's interest before mine in that moment, because I am dedicated to their work. Because believe me, there will be things that will come up. Like as soon as you commit to do something and help someone, they'll be like, oh no, this week there'll be this. The next week there'll be something else. And then there'll be a part on the same date. And then there will be other things to take your attention. And then that's when you test it in terms of your commitment. Because if you understand, exactly, you feel sick.
Also,
there's always something, but that's all to test if you fully understand, like, what are the things there, what are the opportunities that you are missing, or are the things that you're committed to that you're not delivering. And that's how change comes, and that's how your internal change comes.
Yes, because it is true. When we decide that we're going to work, we trigger and start to develop changes in our own bodies and our, and just as our physical body is prepared for an extreme sport, or for a competition, for a sports competition, you add up that energy. You don't add up all your constitution changes so that you can apply all that strength, all that to one particular activity for one particular purpose. The same happens with the mediumship, with the added element that we create an expectation. Nobody is really telling you go, you do your work. But if I decide to say, all right, I'll do it, I'll do the work, and I'll be here a certain day, a certain time, people will get used, and they will organize around you, because if you're offering the help, just like anybody else, just like if people decide to offer a meal every Sunday at 12 for people who are destitute, And please do spread the word around. What happens if I don't turn up with a meal? Are they going to be mad at me? Well, some might, but most will be hurt, and most will be very hungry because they trusted me, they believed me. And so we created an expectation, so there is a responsibility. It's like playing with people's feelings. You don't play with people's feelings in any dimension.
Yeah.
And so why do we do that? Because if we're given this ability, it's because there's a need for it. There's a reason. And the need is not so much, sometimes it's not so much for the person, for the receiver of that action, but it could be for the medium himself. All right? Sometimes when one's doing a healing work, it's not the receiver that's being most benefited. The one who's being healed are the mediums themselves. So there are lots of implications there, and it's not something to be ignored. Well, you can choose to ignore, you can choose not to. And but things will happen, even the mediumistic work will happen when it's right, in its right time, in its right level. No one will be charged with more than they can take, not even close to what they can take. Everything is done gradually because it depends on getting used, getting more confident, relying on the tuition, relying on the support, relying on information, studying, but doing something about it.
Very good, very good. Our time is almost up, so I'm going to, I think I'll try to summarize in why work with mediumship. There are problems, issues that you will not be tackling fully if you don't realize that there's a spiritual element to it, and that will come through mediumship. Development of work, understanding, clarity, knowledge that we might not have on this side yet, that will come through mediumship. Self-development, opportunities to do good. I think summarizing those four, anything I missed? Faye?
Being happy.
Yeah. Absolutely. Find purpose in life. It helps. Right. Let me share announcements, but this is a very interesting topic. Let me bring up our slides. Before we close, as usual, I just want to give announcements. We mentioned last time, so I want to say it again. Our Astral Cities studies, the André Louise studies, are moved already. So now they're happening every Monday at 8 p.m. UK time. So you can tune in those channels. I also have the details here. Might be too small, but it's there. Let me know and I can share the details. Then we have every Saturday our Mediums Book online course. It's Saturdays at 10:30 a.m. Also, we have the details of Zoom here. Happy to join us. We're going item by item. We have, as I mentioned before, Gabriel Delan studies this year every first Sunday of the month, which means this Sunday coming up now, we'll have a session. So keep an eye out to check what we'll be on about. We have every Wednesday the coffee break with Kardec, hosted by Munir, talking about Genesis, and Spiritual Light every Wednesday as well at 9 p.m. UK time. These are the announcements. I want to say thank you very much for everybody who joined us and participated. Faye, thank you so much for suggesting and bringing this topic, which is quite broad, and I think it makes you think, which is probably the best thing from this conversation. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Of course. And I will hope to see everybody in 2 weeks.
Yep. See you then.
See you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.